You know, when I look back at my journey, I often wonder, why did I never fit inside the box that the world so neatly made for women like me? Maybe it's because I was never meant to. Maybe it's because all of us sitting here were never meant to. The phrase breaking the glass ceiling sounds glamorous, doesn't it? But let me tell you, when you're the one actually doing it, it doesn't feel glamorous at all. It feels like rejection. It feels like doubt. It feels like failure. The glass doesn't just break with one strike, it cracks slowly, painfully, sometimes even cutting you in the process. But every crack is proof that you tried, and every attempt brings you one step closer to the light above. When I started my career, people told me what I couldn't do, what I shouldn't do, because I was a woman, because I was different, because I didn't look or sound like everyone else. But here's the truth. The world will always try to define you in small words, small boxes, small expectations. And if you let them, they will shrink your dreams to the size of their imagination, but I refused. I refused to let someone else's idea of who I should be decide who I could become. And that's what breaking the glass ceiling really means. It's not just about being the first or the only. It's about showing others that it's possible, so that one day there's no ceiling at all. Every woman, every girl, every person who's ever been told you can't, you can. Not because it's easy, but because you're strong enough to handle the hard, you're powerful enough to own your ambition, and you're worthy enough to take up space in any room you walk into. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait for someone to pull out a chair for you at the table. Bring your own chair, build your own table if you have to, and when you finally get there, don't just sit quietly. Speak raw, shine so loudly that no one can ignore you. Breaking the glass ceiling isn't about me, it's about all of us. Every crack we make together is another door opening for the next generation, and one day, that ceiling won't exist anymore, it'll just be an open sky. And under that sky, we'll all fly unapologetically, fearlessly, endlessly. Thank you. When I think about the times I was told what I couldn't do, the voices were always louder than the ones that said I could. People will tell you who you are, what you can achieve, and where your place is. They will try to define you in ways that fit their understanding of the world. It comes from stereotypes, from tradition, from fear, and sometimes even from people who love you, but can't imagine you being bigger than the frame they see you in. The problem is not their opinion. The problem begins when you start to believe them. When you start to accept that your life must remain within the boundaries someone else drew for you, you shrink, you compromise, and you let go of the person you are meant to be. Refusing to be defined by others' limitations means having the courage to stand up every single day and choose your own definition of who you are. It means not letting their words become your reality. It means holding on to the vision you have for yourself, even when no one else can see it. When I first stepped into the spotlight, there were endless lists of what I supposedly wasn't. I wasn't tall enough, I wasn't fair enough, I wasn't conventional enough, I wasn't traditional enough, I wasn't international enough. Every conversation was about what was lacking, what was missing, what I didn't have. And I'll be honest with you, it stings. It hurts when people dissect you into pieces and weigh them against a scale you never agreed to. But here's what I realized, their scale is not my truth. If I accept their verdict, I will forever live under the shadow of their expectations. If I reject it, I have the chance to create my own story. That's the power of refusing limitations. It transforms rejection into redirection. It transforms judgment into fuel. And it transforms the impossible into the possible. Refusing to be defined by limitations does not mean arrogance. It does not mean pretending that you don't hear the criticism. It means hearing it, feeling it, and still walking forward. It means acknowledging that maybe you don't tick every box, but that doesn't mean the boxes themselves define greatness. Sometimes those boxes are outdated. Sometimes they are prejudiced. Sometimes they are simply wrong. And it takes one person willing to break out of them to show the world that success can look different. Talent can look different. Beauty can look different. Leadership can look different. If you wait for the world to update its definitions before you step into your potential, you'll be waiting forever. So you have to go first. You have to live in a way that forces people to expand their vision of what is possible. I've seen people limit themselves even before others do. They shrink their dreams because they don't want to disappoint. They don't try for something bigger because they're afraid of falling. They tell themselves, maybe this is enough, maybe this is safe. But safety is a cage if it keeps you from discovering your wings. The ceiling that keeps you down is not just made of other people's words. It's also made of your own doubts. The moment you decide not to believe those doubts, not to let them define you, you begin to break free. That decision, that inner rebellion, is the beginning of rewriting your story. Every person in this world who has ever done something extraordinary started by refusing the definitions handed to them. Think about it. Every trailblazer, every innovator, every leader was once told, "This can't be done," or "People like you can't achieve this." And if they had listened, we would never have seen what they brought into the world. Their gift wasn't that they never heard the doubts. Their gift was that they never accepted them as truth. They created new definitions through their courage, their work, and their refusal to be boxed in. That's the lesson I carry with me. That's the lesson I want you to carry too. There's a strange freedom in realizing that you don't have to meet anyone's expectations but your own. When you step outside the prison of other people's perceptions, you see a horizon so wide, so limitless, that you wonder why you ever thought small in the first place. Yes, people will talk. Yes, people will criticize. Yes, people will misunderstand. But when you succeed on your own terms, when you prove that their limitations could not hold you back, something amazing happens. The same people who doubted you begin to look at you with awe. Not because you became what they wanted, but because you showed them something they never imagined. You expanded their vision, and that in turn makes it easier for the next person to walk the path after you. So, refuse to be defined by others' limitations, not just for yourself, but for those who will come after you. Refuse because you owe it to your dreams. Refuse because you owe it to your potential. Refuse because the only definition that matters is the one you create with your life, your choices, your courage, and your relentless belief in yourself. Every rejection, every failure, every moment of being told no feels like a wall slamming shut in your face. It hurts, it bruises, it makes you question your worth. But what most people don't see is that behind every no lies a hidden opportunity to push harder, to learn, and to grow. Rejection is not the final word. It is simply a reminder that the path forward is going to require resilience. And failure is not a dead end. It is a mirror that shows you where you need to be stronger, sharper, wiser. Every time life pushes you down, it is handing you a chance to rise taller than before. The truth about breaking any ceiling is that it never breaks with one clean strike. It cracks with the force of repeated attempts, with persistence, with the courage to show up again and again despite the pain. And those cracks, as small as they may seem, are victories in themselves because they prove that the ceiling is not invincible. When I first started out, I thought that success was a straight line. Work hard, do well, get rewarded, simple, but the reality is much messier. It is full of moments where you give your best and still don't get chosen. Moments where you put your heart into something and it doesn't work out. Moments where you hear more criticism than praise. Those moments sting so deeply that you wonder if you're cut out for the dream you're chasing. But here's what I discovered. Those moments were not failures, they were cracks. They were tiny breaks in the ceiling above me, and even though I couldn't see the light shining through yet, every rejection was weakening that barrier. Every no I received was proof that I was still in the fight. The glass ceiling doesn't shatter because someone suddenly hands you an opportunity. It shatters because you keep striking at it when no one is watching. It shatters because you refuse to walk away even when it would be easier to quit. It shatters because you choose to believe that one day the cracks will add up to something bigger. Each rejection letter, each closed door, each failure is one more strike against that invisible barrier. And slowly the surface starts to weaken. You may not notice it at first, but one day you look back and realize that those painful moments were actually carving out your strength. There were times in my life when I questioned whether I was simply not good enough. It is easy to let rejection define you that way. It is easy to say, maybe I don't belong here, maybe this isn't for me. But then I ask myself, what if rejection is not a verdict? What if it's a challenge? What if failure is not proof of inadequacy, but evidence of effort? And the moment I started seeing rejection as a stepping stone instead of a stop sign, everything changed. I realized that every person who has ever done something meaningful has faced the same no's, the same doubts, the same defeats. What separated them from the rest was not luck or privilege alone. It was their ability to keep moving through the cracks until the barrier finally gave way. Sometimes rejection saves you. Sometimes failure teaches you lessons that success never could. I remember the roles I didn't get, the projects that fell apart, the doors that were slammed shut. At the time, I thought those were losses, but looking back, I see that they redirected me to paths that suited me better, that allowed me to grow, that shaped me into who I am. Each time I was turned away, it forced me to sharpen my craft, to find new ways to stand out, to dig deeper into myself. The cracks didn't just appear in the ceiling. They appeared inside me too, cracking open parts of me I didn't know existed, releasing resilience, creativity, and fire I never would have found otherwise. The most dangerous thing rejection can do is convince you to stop trying. That is how the ceiling stays unbroken. That is how dreams die. But if you see rejection as proof that you're still in the game, it becomes fuel. Every failure can either confirm your fears or strengthen your fight. The choice is yours. You can let the cuts from the broken glass make you bleed and quit, or you can wear those scars as medals of courage. You can let the weight of disappointment crush you, or you can use it as resistance training for your spirit. The cracks you create are not always visible to others. Sometimes people will look at you and say, nothing has changed, you're still where you started. They don't see the progress because they're not living your struggle, but you know how many times you've struck against that barrier. You know how much effort it took to get up after falling. And when the ceiling finally breaks, it might look like an overnight success to the world, but you will know it was built on years of cracks, of rejections, of failures turned into fuel. So the next time you face rejection, don't see it as the end. See it as the sound of glass cracking above you. The next time you fail, don't let it make you smaller. Let it remind you that you are still in the fight, still pushing, still striking, and every strike matters. Every no matters. Every fall matters. They are not signs that you are weak. They are signs that you are strong enough to keep trying. And eventually, one of those cracks will be the one that lets the light pour through.